much.
Okay, this is a meeting of the Hyde Park Central School District on September 26, 2019. Can I have a motion to go into executive session to discuss matters pertaining to medical, financial, credit, or employment, promotion, demotion, discipline, suspension, dismissal, or removal of a particular person or corporation?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor? Motion carries. We're now in executive session.
Big. We have.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Board of Education meeting for September 26th. Can we please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. There is two agenda modifications being added under new business. Get to it. 11.12. Be it resolved that effective September 26, 2019, employee 4261 shall be placed on paid administrative leave during the pendency of a district investigation. Be it further resolved that in event of district pursues Section 75 charges against employee 4261, they shall be suspended without pay for a period of 30 days during the pendency of the hearing. Upon the expiration of the 30 days, they shall be placed on paid administrative leave for the remainder of the hearing. Also added 11.13, hearing officer appointment, Section 75 hearing. Be resolved that if Section 75 charges are filed against employee 4261, the board does hereby appoint Joseph Woolley as hearing officer to preside over the disciplinary hearing and issue findings and recommendation of all disciplinary charges proffered against employee 4261, including any amended charges that may be presented at said disciplinary hearing. So can I have a motion to amend the agenda?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor? Motion carries. So can I have a motion to adopt the agenda as modified?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor? Motion carries. Upcoming events. Monday, September 30th, there will be no evening events at all schools. On Friday, October 4th, naturalization ceremony will be held at 11 a.m. in the Haviland Middle School auditorium. Friday, October 4th, all schools will have a go-home early drill. Check with your schools. On Tuesday, October 8th, there will again be no evening events at all schools. Wednesday, October 9th, there will be no school for all schools, an observance of Yom Kippur. And Thursday, October 10th, will be the next regular Board of Ed meeting here at the district office.
I didn't catch it, and my apologies, but Friday, October 4th is the homecoming game at FDR at 7:00 p.m.
Okay. So we're now on to Pride.
Okay, so at Netherwood Elementary School, Mr. Daly, the new principal, he's been having a smooth transition into the school year, and there have been 2 Meet the Staff nights so far. Parents of students in grades K through 2 and 3 through 5 left their hopes for 2019 and 2020 on a half sheet of paper, and they're going to create a community bulletin board in the main lobby. Also on opening day, the staff of the school participated in the activity, and so the results were really great, and that's going to be really good. In North Park Elementary, they had their first Healthy Highways Assembly, and it was hosted by their very own 5th grade students. Students were encouraged to travel down Courage Crossroad to help remind them to have courage to do the right thing. They also had a college and career ready corner in the cafeteria. And finally, they also had a successful Meet the Staff night for grades 3 to 5. The school's psychologist, social worker, and occupational therapist stood in the lobby with brochures. And this is huge when it comes to trying to destigmatize mental health, so that was really cool. Also, in Haviland, the presentation that they had with Dr. Folan last week had about 100 people turn out, which they were amazed by, and they want to thank him for his presentation and the community for coming. And then in FDR, there's been talk of students organizing an after-school environmental group again, and this is to help with the school's recycling. In light of recent environmental news and findings, now is the time to make a change. I was after school the other day, and I actually encountered 2 students who were staying after gathering the recyclables themselves. I couldn't get their names, but I think that the district should be proud of its environmentally conscious students and the initiative that many are taking at this time. Also, on September 20th, over 80 FDR students were recently trained or retrained through Sources of Strength as peer leaders. They spent the day at the regional office in Statsburg, and it included interactive and educational activities that encouraged the students to think deeply about how the Sources of Strength wheel can apply to themselves and others. And Sources of Strength is now working on a way to implement more campaigns at FDR. And finally, next week is FDR Spirit Week. Each class has been prepping a lot for the pep rally and the football game, as mentioned at the end of the week. The game is against Warwick at 7 p.m., and the student section has requested a whiteout and attire to continue the tradition started last year for homecoming.
Thank you. Is there any other pride?
No, you go.
You go.
I was just going to say that I attended the evening event at Haviland with Dr. Fallon, and I'd managed to, he'd been to the district a number of times, but I never seemed to catch his presentation before. But Ed was there, I was there, who else was, Jay was there with me. I don't know if anybody else made it that night. But I would just say that it was very well done, and I went in there knowing nothing, and it gave me a lot to think about. And what I really liked was the way that students connected, for sure. So I recommend anybody in the community in the future, when you hear that he's coming and he's doing an event, please join us. It was very good.
And I would just add that it was an excellent presentation. I thought it goes right in line with our social emotional learning. It was very powerful, and what Denise and I saw was that the line of students and parents who were there after the presentation, long after the presentation. So I applaud the district for this.
Any other pride?
Oh, just one. Last Saturday was a busy day at FDR, and for the first time ever, we hosted a volleyball tournament with 9 participating teams. It was really well organized, and kudos to the coach for bringing a tournament of that size for volleyball on a Saturday. It was just great to see so many people joining us for this tournament. 9 teams is no small feat to pull off in a gymnasium with just setting up the schedule. A little bit later, but while the volleyball tournament was still going on, there was the girls' varsity soccer game, and it was an exciting game, and it ended in overtime with a tie. So it was just a nice day to be on campus.
Any others? Okay, on to superintendent's report.
Okay, well, this one can border pride or just a report. We had our administrators meeting this past week or whenever, and we had an opportunity to share about opening of schools. And while we already have shared that the opening of schools was very smooth, it was just really wonderful to hear it from the principal's perspective, one at a time. One surprising thing, and kudos to the staff, because the staff is what makes it. But the surprising thing was they had all had at least one PTA meeting and saw incredibly high numbers of turnout for PTA meetings. Every single building reported that the first PTA meeting was very well attended, so more so than in the past. So not sure what caused that phenomenon this September, but a shout out to all the parents who took the time to come out, and hopefully if we can capture why they're coming out and encourage them to encourage others. But nobody could explain the phenomenon that on the September PTA meetings this year, every one of them reported an increase in numbers in people who turned out. I do also want to report that the naturalization ceremony that will occur next Friday, I believe at 10 a.m. at Haviland Middle School, 11, is going to be a very special event. We have hosted naturalization ceremonies in the past, certainly in some of our other schools, but this one, the list of dignitaries and attendees from, Senator to Serino down to, the local judges, the program is very full. And expanded from some of the other naturalization ceremonies. Our middle school music staff will provide, the national anthem. I'll give a welcome address, and they're expecting about 100 people. Homeland Security will be there, so it should be an interesting event. I also just wanted to mention that if you hadn't read about it in the papers, at the Eleanor Roosevelt Valkill, the medal ceremony is Sunday, October 13th. It's very well publicized. You can go on the ERVK, but very special, very near and dear to us. The Goldens have been selected to receive, John and Gloria Golden have been selected to receive the medal award from the Eleanor Roosevelt Valkill organization. This is a prestigious award where five people are recipients. They choose a local person or persons to be the recipient. So there are other medalists of note from all around the world coming, including Chelsea Clinton, and Chelsea and her mother Hillary are the only mother-daughter combo to have received the award. But the big highlight for Hyde Park, and especially for the school district, is that the Goldens are the medal recipients for the greater Dutchess County area, and well-deserving. I will be in attendance, and I'm some sort of a honorary committee member, but I look forward to the event, and just I'll congratulate the Goldens at that time, but I wanted to publicly congratulate John and Gloria Golden for being the medal recipients for this prestigious award.
Okay, then there's no presentations for tonight's meeting. Can I have a motion for public participation?
So moved. Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor? Motion carries. At this time, if you would like to address the board, please go to the microphone and state your name. Seeing no response, public participation is now closed. We'll move on to board discussions. And is there any subcommittee reports?
The policy, you can do audit, and I'll do...
I'll do okay. since they were both on the same night. The audit committee met with the external auditors and received their draft presentation of the audit. It was a very good audit, very minor things to correct, almost nothing. I thought, as I told them, they were very professional in the manner in which they did the audit and conducted themselves as professionals as well. So it was a good audit, and I think it's a reflection on how well the district is being run, and the distance office especially, that we get that. So thank you, Linda.
And it'll be on the agenda when, Jay?
They're going to try to get it to the next.
The auditors will be here at the next meeting
Right,
to
to present.
present.
Oh, and then the policy committee met twice. So we're still plugging away. I just want to put that out there. We're still plugging away, so we should have a lot. We don't have anything for review now, do we?
Yeah, yes, we do.
How did I miss that? 'Cause I think
Right.
I've looked at them so often. So anyway, so if anybody has any questions about any of the policies that we've been reviewing,
On the policy committee, I would like to point out that it was a special meeting to discuss a particular policy that was being questioned by a community member, and so it was a very lively discussion. We spent a lot of time and made a decision, which we then gave to the person involved. But I thought it was a good meeting.
I can report that there was a Dutchess County School Board Association meeting last Thursday, of which in attendance was Caroline Bobrick, I think. She's the Interstate School Board Association representative for the area. We took the opportunity to go through all of the resolutions that are going to be, or that the New York State School Board Association is putting forward at the conference, which I think we have a representative going to. So it was some good discussion to better understand how the process works and what some of the theory was behind it, and we actually gave her some feedback, and I don't know whether there'll be any changes based on that or not, but it was a good, lively conversation about, and there's a lot of different resolutions. I mean, I think that there's maybe as many as 20 or 25 resolutions that are out there, and also the process of how to introduce or amend a resolution. So it's a good experience.
so we'll be going over those resolutions here for all of you to tell me how you want to be represented when I go.
And I am prepared.
Excellent. Awesome.
So we'll do that to the next meeting?
Jay? Yes.
And on to board discussion as we continue discussing goal development.
Oh, I forgot about the goals. I did. There they are.
Yeah, I don't see it updated. So you want to review the ones we did, or do you want to just go further, and then we'll review after we get the rest of them done?
I want to plow ahead.
I mean, I asked, does anybody have any objection to what was, I mean, you circulated what we did. Anybody see anything different than what they recall or what they believe we agreed on?
On what we did last.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's fine.
so I would say,
Academic goal?
move on.
Good.
So I want to have another board retreat. I know that's no surprise to anybody.
What's the topic?
Well,
Board Administrative Operations, she's jumping ahead. She's raring to go.
I'm ready to go. It's right in front of me. What do you think should be the topic, Perry?
I think we had one suggestion from last meeting,
Which, right?
and that was to fully understand the strategic plan.
All right.
Now, I would say, I have read it, I'm not so sure I understand it all. So maybe it would be a good idea to have a board retreat where we delve deeper into what it means for the district, how we might change how we look at academics or whatever, not knowing what, is to come. And then I would like to discuss, if we do that, how do we give the public, the community, how do we measure our success of the, I know there are outcomes in the strategic plan, but I doubt if any community member knows what those are. So, along those lines, I think we could work out the details, but that's one thought.
I like it.
Okay. So we'll reword that to make it into one sentence. Bullets.
Just conduct a board retreat on the district's strategic plan.
With the purpose to fully understand the strategic plan, what it means to the district, and how we view our academic changes, and how do we measure success.
No, I'm just talking. I wouldn't put all that in.
I would just say conduct a board retreat on the school district
Let's have the
strategic plan.
presentation.
And let's get there and let's work it out. Let's learn and,
Yeah, I would put a time on it, like,
As there are board members on the strategic planning committee, you don't want to, write it in such a way that the board is going to rewrite the strategic plan. Yeah,
just,
yeah.
this is a presentation of.
yeah, we want to just
Yeah,
understand.
no.
No, I'm saying we want to, when I say work it
Spend a lot
out,
of work putting
I
that
mean,
together.
work out where we want
No,
to,
yeah,
how we
that's
want to
what I
go with
heard,
it.
but if you write so much of it into that you're going to write outcomes for it.
No.
That aren't there right now,
I
that's
think it's-
changing the strategic plan, and there are 3 board members who sit on that committee.
Okay.
So I think it's a matter of getting a better understanding
Yeah,
of
yeah.
the strategic plan. And I think that, as part of that, I'd like to see, my thought is, I'd like to have some real, whether it's teachers or administrators, I'd like to see some examples of application, and so to help me better, I got to feel it, I got to see it kind of thing.
Yeah, we can
That might-
totally bring concrete
Right,
stuff,
and I think that that's what would really
Right.
be helpful to me, to have some good
And who
examples.
is on the district leadership team? I think Ed is new this
Yes,
year?
yes.
We haven't had a meeting yet, and there's always 2. And Mike?
Mike Kemp.
And Carl. Very good.
Carl?
And, then that'll be part of it, is understanding, yeah, never mind. We'll
Yep.
just do it.
Yep.
Yeah, it's good,
Yep.
and it's,
Could-
we're going to rewrite the plan this year, so that'll be perfect.
could we put a time, because I'd like to get it done before the budget processing gets really heavy. I don't want it at the end of the year, so maybe.
No, I wouldn't want it either, because we're going to start rewriting it
Yeah.
the second semester, so we want to look at January, February?
Yes,
Yeah.
I think that
Yes, I
would be
like
appropriate.
January.
Perfect,
Possible.
perfect.
So it's Ed, Mike, and myself that are on the DLT.
We got a meeting coming up, the 18th, I believe.
I dropped off so Ed could go.
Okay, and the second one, board members will attend at least one professional development training webinar or other training this school year. Keep that one on?
Yeah, I think that's a good one, actually.
Is there anybody have any other ones they want to add? Okay, we'll move on to the next one. Budget and administration. clicker. Okay, support a budget that maintains as many programs as possible, given the tax cap. Verify that any spending reductions are distributed with equity. Ensure spending is based on actual projected spending, not rollover numbers.
I'd like to remove 3. I think we've proved that that's what we do. I don't think we have to have that on. Linda has done a good job on assuring us, and we don't do rollover. I mean, not to say you can't stay there, but I don't think we need it.
I would say that this goal was in there, and what did we do for it? I don't, did we do anything specifically for it? Or
No, we just make sure Linda does it.
Right. That's part of the process, so.
Can I speak to it? Even though so in the past, the budgets were created based on whatever the budget number was the year
Right.
before,
Right.
not what we actually expected to spend.
But
Right.
So
we've done a number of budgets
for quite a
now.
few years now,
Yes.
we actually look at what we
I don't-
expect to spend when we build the budget.
Right, well, I would disagree that I would say not to take it off, because we are, right, responsible for overseeing the finances of the district, and while Linda is doing that, and for many years, we've been budgeting like that, I think we want it to be, we want to be aware that we continue to do that. I think that's responsible financial planning. So I would leave it on, because it should be an ongoing goal for us. What does everybody else think?
What else? What does everybody else feel?
Well, I think it is a goal that our budget should be accurate, and it should fit the needs of the district, and it should support the needs of the district. And I think that the concept here is that this is zero-based budgeting, so that you're not simply taking numbers from last year and using some multiplier to bounce it up. Does that require a goal to do that, or?
I think it's part of Linda's job, to tell you the truth, to do that. But
Yeah.
it doesn't hurt to
Either
have
way.
it on there.
Yeah, it's a fairly easy goal for us to obtain, I think. It's a matter of us doing our diligence and asking and how numbers are calculated and pressing.
So
That
keep it or remove it?
I don't think it's needed.
Ed? Undecided, that's fine.
I don't think.
I would say
necessary.
maybe just change the wording slightly, continue to ensure, because I think we've met that goal from what we're saying. It's not bad to leave it, but maybe for another year, continue to ensure.
I'm good either way. I mean,
Can I say one more thing?
Yes.
If you do keep it, it should say ensure budgeting is based on actual projected
Yes,
spending.
I agree with that. Sure, budgeting is based on
Okay,
actual
right.
projected spending. And I would not necessarily mean saying that we need to keep rollover numbers, not rollover numbers.
Right, so just ensure budgeting is based on actual projected spending.
Yeah.
Let me ask you, when she came out with the initial, did you ask the question, are these rollover numbers or not? I don't ever remember that topic coming up.
I think she says it in her presentation, doesn't she? I guess I didn't
Yeah.
ask the specific question now.
Yeah.
No, I don't think we go down in detail of each area, but I have asked in some areas,
Yeah.
is this the same or is this?
And I don't remember if it was the first year I did the budget or the second year, but we did have a year where we readjusted everything. So once I was in there and looking at the numbers, I realized some of the budget numbers from the past had just been based on whatever we budgeted, whether that was a realistic number or not. And we did have a year where we even adjusted the tax cap because of fund balance.
And is there a rule, law, policy that you follow that shows to do it one way or another? I mean, wouldn't that be the better place?
Well, yeah, that it is better to budget based on what we expect to spend, because otherwise we could be creating a budget that's just not realistic. We're either
No, I
over-budgeting.
agree, but is there like a state law? I mean, there's two options to do it, the rollover way or the way we do it. So is there a,
There's no mandate that says.
Yeah.
and I don't know if having this sentence in here is the right way to ensure that it's done the correct way versus somewhere else. Because, I mean, honestly, she could have put a thing up, and I would have never thought
Yeah.
that, oh, we have a board goal that says that.
Well, the board goals is that we're supposed to realize that. We're supposed to be looking at last year's budget and looking at it.
Yeah, we
That's
had a-
what that goal is. It's
Well-
more just us to be looking at,
No,
not
I
just.
know, but
The real question is, how is a number developed? That's what, I
Yeah.
mean, that's the question, and based on what the answer is. If the number is developed by a methodical process of each department, that supports that it's based on spending, unanticipated expenses.
Do we have a policy that says that, or?
No. We have a goal.
We have a goal, because this is,
but honestly, right, I-
because this is the budget and administration portion of the goals.
Yeah, so there were times when our budgets, or at the end of the year, what we actually spent might have been 10% lower than the budget. And now we try to stay, well, of course, ideally it would be right in line, but we always have to have
So at the end of the year, we had lots of
Expectations.
extra money.
Yeah.
I get the concept,
Yeah.
I'm just saying, I
So-
don't know, having the,
Yeah.
okay, you could have presented whatever, and I
Yeah.
don't know if this board goal would have,
yeah. So,
I don't go back and read
Right.
these before every presentation to say, what are my goals? I
Yeah.
don't know if that would have been the right way to prompt, say, wait, Linda, you're doing it wrong, you're doing a rollover number versus some other more formal way to ensure that you're doing it the right way versus this board goal. Is kind of what I'm trying to say, is this doesn't help me ensure that you're doing it the right way.
so, yeah, I understand what you're saying with the goal.
I do too.
So let me ask you a question, Linda.
Yeah.
What could we do to know that that we are in fact meeting the goal that we set?
So that
How
can be
would we
part of the,
measure
that can be part of the presentations. So we always show how much we've increased from the year before, from the budget, because we show the budget to budget increase, but I can explain more where the numbers come from. Or we can even show when we do have a significant change in an account code, a budget line, whether it's an increase or a decrease, the reasoning why. Right, we're changing this account code because,
Well, let me ask
you
it
know,
a different way.
yeah.
If you win the lottery and we all get
Yeah.
hit by a bus tomorrow, the next group that comes in here, how do they know how to do it the right way?
well, I'm not really sure what you mean by the right way,
Well,
because there
without
are
doing the
different
rollover,
ways.
Obviously, we don't want to do the rollover.
We don't want to do the rollover.
Right, so how do we ensure if a whole new set of
Right,
people come in?
right, that's what I'm saying.
tomorrow-
So if it's in the presentations, then you'll know how we're budgeting for it. If I tell you how we're coming up with the information, then you'll know. If you
This
don't.
person can
right.
follow.
I suspect that you, in some way, reach out to department chairs.
Yes, every department,
Looking for them to provide you with their
yes,
budget requirements.
yes, and that's always been done,
Right.
right?
And do you get enough detail to know that they are giving you
Yes.
a needs-based
Yes.
budget versus a rollover
Right.
budget?
Yes, but the real spending is in payroll and benefits, and I do that part of the budget. And it's based on the people that we have, what step they're on. I look at the overtime from year to year to see if we're using more or less than we have before. We look at the subs, who we're using for subs and where, and what the rates will be for the next year, and that's how we calculate the budget. So the reason that's different than rollover, because the rollover numbers were the budget numbers, not the
Right.
expense numbers, right?
So does the state have recommendations on the amount, the buffer that you can have, like 3%?
No, but that's why they have the 4% rule for fund balance, that our fund balance, or unassigned fund balance shouldn't exceed 4% of the next year's budget. And if we were budgeting just based on budgets, we could exceed that, and we had in the past. We could be 8, 10% if we're over budgeting by 8 or 10%.
So the state doesn't give us a number that we should be budgeting to,
No.
a margin that we should be
No.
working for.
If we ask the
But they
state-
do know what number to criticize us
Yes.
at when
Yes.
we
Right.
have too much of a gap.
And if we were to ask the state, they would say the number should be as close as possible, so there's nothing left over at the end of the year.
Without going
Nothing.
over.
Without
Well,
going
yeah,
over.
but you can't do that because of all the things that might happen during the year.
Exactly.
You have to have.
That's why it's a budget.
A margin for 5 special ed kids coming in.
Yep.
Or,
Yeah.
So I think
our aid being reduced by, $1 million or something like that.
So I think it's a worthy goal to keep in, and I think that probably when we get to budget time, we'll all remember this a little bit better and be asking the questions to verify that, in fact,
There you go.
the budget was built based on true spending and not prior year's budget history.
And there are different ways for budgeting, so we could talk about that too. There are, like, Perry, I think you mentioned zero-based budgeting. That's not exactly what we do. That would be tearing everything down to nothing and starting over. So we do start with the rollover. That's always the first presentation, like showing like what the budget would be if the only thing that changed were the salaries and the benefits, things that we know are changing.
But in fact, you really are looking for the departments
Yeah.
to do a zero-based budget.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When they submit their request, they show us what they are expecting to spend in supplies. They even look at the vendors to see the pricing and what they need.
Which is unfortunately, a relatively small portion of our budget.
Yeah,
I mean,
but they do that. Yeah.
the majority of our budget is personnel. So
Yeah.
it's your calculation
Yeah.
based on what pay increases are going to be, full-time employee numbers are going to be, benefit costs are going to be.
Yeah, and the administrators do put in requests if they think they need a change in staff also, one way or the other, if they think they don't need as many people the next year or not.
And next week, you'll get a chance to see the audit report, which has all those numbers about what we said we were going to do, how much
What
we
we
got in, how much we didn't get in, what the actual was at the end of the year. And there's maybe 4 or 5 charts on there on a lot of different pages that tell you that.
I'd be in favor of leaving it as a goal. I don't think there's a bad downside to leaving in there, and it may make us think more about it when we get to the budget.
Yeah, right, it's not going to hurt, but I don't think it's going to make us think, because we never refer back to that, right?
Well, I think about it, actually.
Yeah.
So Denise is, and she is going to remind us.
I will. I actually
The
think about that every
presentation,
time Linda does the presentations. I'm looking at that, so I do.
So I think it's important to note that, of course, when we make our board goals, then those feed into our administrators' goals, and then when our teachers ask for professional development, they should match up with the board goals. So in the end, it will, or should, have a bearing on everyone.
Right,
Yeah.
good point.
I'm just also wondering, we have the report of the status of the smart bond spending projects and technology. Wouldn't that be better off in the budget and administration area, since it is money?
Well, but it's, I guess my only thought on that is it's a one-time budget, it's not a reoccurring.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, it's like a capital project, if you will.
Yeah, so it's not part of the general
reoccurring.
fund.
Yeah.
It's outside of that.
And I think part of that is just telling us, as it says, the status of what is completed and a timeline for submissions and so forth to the state.
And are we going to have any goals toward the capital project? Reports?
I'm timing on the budget now.
Careful on that one.
I know. And then in this economy with steel and everything else, prices, not,
I mean,
probably
we'll
not.
get a regular report, so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We need to make it a goal, because I'm sure we'll
No.
get regular updates.
I don't, yeah.
Beyond that, that's what we need.
So we're not going, nothing else on there then? Are we good with that one?
Right.
Yep.
Yep. So, technology. And what do we mean by further discussion needed in this area? Remind me.
I don't know.
Yeah, Jay, why'd you put that in there?
we didn't have enough last time.
I think because we were, I don't know if we have to focus on technology necessarily, or if
Oh, right.
another
That was why.
focus, I think was where we were.
Yes, we did say that, actually.
So what were we, Denise, what were we touching on then?
We were talking about whether or not we need technology as a subsection of our goals, or if we wanted to focus on a different area in the district and have goals for that.
Well, could
That was what we mentioned.
have a presentation on how technology supports the 4C program? Like, is technology helping us in the collaboration and that? I don't know, just something different. That's nice.
Well, I mean, two questions. Do we want to make sure that our retreat addresses how technology integration is relevant to the 4Cs? Or do we want to make it a separate report that reports specifically
You know,
on?
if I could weigh in, I actually think it's a nice shift from the technology integration, and I think we have a better chance of maybe seeing some really great examples of student work and how it's being used in classrooms if he has enough lead time to show it here in public. It's not specifically, certainly underpinning the plan, technology will be leveraged, to implement the 4Cs, but I think it might be a way for buildings to highlight what they've been doing and really show the public, how that's a wonderful thing to engage teachers and students in sharing how they're using samples of that.
I like that.
Okay, so
Certainly, it's not that we wouldn't explore it in the strategic plan, but if you're going to keep a technology goal, that would be a nice one to actually, where we'd actually get to see in public some results of student work.
So receive a report,
A presentation on on how technology is how did you put that?
how it is supporting and integrating with the 4Cs.
I like that.
Okay.
Yeah, because,
So I think that, would we use that in replacement of the first item?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay?
Yeah.
and I think that's also the same
Covers
as
two?
number two.
Almost number two as well.
But I would still like to receive a report on the status of the smart bond spending.
Yeah, actually, it's a smart
Yeah,
schools bond.
I think that would be a good one for a number of reasons. We're moving into cameras and updating infrastructure to support storage and things like that, some real nuts and bolts that I think that would be worthwhile to, because the last few reports we sent it in, we're waiting, and now we're actually at the point where, do we get the money? We received the approval?
I
but-
know we got the approval, I don't remember if we got the money. I'm thinking we did, but it might have just been the commitment that they were going to send it.
Yeah, we don't know
I
if
would
we
check
have
with Barbara
check.
on that.
But I think it's time to get a refresher on where are we at with where the money's going and what we're doing with it.
And I don't know whether it would be with that, the Smart Schools Bond Act or not, but I think I'd like to see just a projection of where we think what our technology needs are going to be going forward. What
We definitely need to assess staffing. There's a big meeting coming up at the Mid-Hudson Regional Information Center where they're inviting all the component school districts, and they were very explicit that they wanted the superintendent, the business official, the instructional person, and the technology person, so we're going as a team, and basically, there's two things that are going on. One is, boy, Ed, you might be able to help me with this, but one specifically is that the data requirements and the reporting requirements have far exceeded the RIC's ability to support us. And you couple that with the new PII 200 law, Ed Law 200, where it's, once it goes into effect, which could be this December, states that you need to have this new data officer, and it can't be the director of technology. So who is that person? So I think there's going to be a lot of nuts and bolts. How do we rebuild our tech department? How do we satisfy Ed Law 200? How are we going to deal with this now that we're all being brought in to say the RIC can't handle it? And by the way, there's going to be a ton of more work coming your way because the data requirements keep growing. You throw on top of that the cybersecurity factor, and we need to, and this one might be sooner rather than later, because I told Rick, and so it might be worthwhile to see this in a transparent way in public. I said, I need to know before budget season the implications on staffing. You need to assess the needs of your department, because I don't think we can make it with what we currently have, nor do I know who are we going to assign to be this data privacy officer. So, I think we need to see that sooner rather than later, and it doesn't hurt to have it as a board goal, because I already told Rick he has to do it. And, no, he actually wants to do it because it's necessary. It's time to look at how we're supporting technology.
Yeah, and I think that there's some real budget implications,
Yep.
if not this year, in years to come very quickly.
Yeah.
So are we saying we have to have this presentation before budgeting starts?
Yeah, I would say that would be a,
Well, or at least early on the budget,
like
in the budget
January the
process.
latest. Yeah.
And I would just, echo that I'm sure Rick can give a report on that when you submit your smart bond plan. There's the spending plan, and then there's the tech plan. You need both approved, in advance. There's so much going on, as was just said, not only with the infrastructure, but with the cybersecurity. This is a hot topic that all the superintendents are talking about, all the districts are talking about, and weighing the need for staffing is very much a factor.
Save your
so
money for
we'll-
ransom.
Figure out how to word that, and is there any other goals that we want to talk about or add? Nope. Okay, so next meeting, we'll have all of them in and we'll approve them?
Can I just say, this is the best we've ever done, Jeff, so I'm giving you a lot of credit here, because we have dragged this on for months in the past, and I think you moved along very well.
All right, time to
so
move on.
Good job.
Okay, so ready? So on to the consent agenda. Can I have a motion for the consent agenda?
So move.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Well, I would like
Wait,
to,
Go ahead.
right, on the personnel part of the consent agenda, right, we're appointing our new, I don't know what your title is.
A coordinator of special education.
Thank you.
Elementary.
Thank you, Andrew Deason, he's here today, so I just wanted to welcome him.
Thank you. I was
Rather presumptuous.
yeah, we're going to have
Okay.
to clap again.
All those in favor? Motion carries.
Now we can clap.
Are we
There we go.
again? Sorry. I get a little carried away.
No, that was perfect.
So can I have a motion for 11.1, special education placements?
So move. Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor? Motion carries. So, can we have a motion for 11.2, appointment of the Board of Ed designee, IHO approval?
So move. Second.
Discussion, shouldn't we have somebody we're appointing?
Yeah, I think we have to identify someone. Somebody can fill us in. This is for us to appoint someone to,
Impartial hearing officer, IHO.
I actually called Jay about it and asked today, and this is about when a hearing comes up, you would have to...
don't have time to convene.
Yeah, time to, for a special meeting, that we can appoint someone of the Board of Ed to approve.
To approve, yeah. So basically, we're all giving our vote to one person to make a decision of who we need for an impartial hearing officer, if and when that occurs, so that we can move quickly on it.
So this has to be someone on the board that's free regularly, they can always respond.
Like phone call or,
Yeah, it's a phone call.
it's a phone call.
You mean like if you're retired, it's better?
So we have to pick somebody right now?
Yeah, well, yeah, we have to put a name in here.
Well,
It really can be a phone call. I mean, I can't even look at that impartial hearing officer list and tell you anything other than, maybe I've had a prior experience or somebody, but even then, I'm not even sure I would even want to weigh in on it. You're just
somebody else to roll
appointing
the
somebody
dice.
on the list, yeah.
I mean, I don't have much of an active life, I'm usually around. So it could be me, I can be available. I mean, Doug's traveling, you're traveling, Perry, you're always around, too.
Very good.
I'm here
I've
all
had
the
a
time.
So does Denise
I'm always
now.
home.
I have two.
I could be on the line and without, out of contact for quite a while, so Denise, you willing to do it?
Anybody else? I'm willing.
I can't.
Yeah, you can't do it.
You're going to be out of country.
I'm willing, I'm usually reachable.
So can I have a motion to amend to put Denise as the
So
appointee?
moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor? Motion carries.
Just,
So-
it's like once in a blue moon.
All other duties as assigned without additional compensation.
I'm usually reachable, so.
So can I have a motion to approve 11.2 as
24,
amended?
48 hours is
So
fine.
moved.
Second.
It's not like.
Any discussion?
That
Wait,
second.
Yeah.
Harry and me.
second. Ready? So, did we just, did a first and second?
Yeah,
Okay.
11.3.
So, all those in favor? Motion passes. 11.3, overnight field trip request, FDR, Plymouth, Boston, Massachusetts.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion?
We just did that one, didn't we?
No, we did, I don't know, I think he did two
We did
twice.
11.3.
We did two twice.
11.2, we did because we had to amend it,
And then we
and
had to
so we
do
could
it.
put a name in, and then
So
we had to
sorry.
approve it.
So sorry.
That good with you, Jay? I got it. You got it, all right.
So, all those in favor, 11.3? Motion passes. 11.4, overnight field trip request, Villa Roma, Callicoon, New York, Thespian Society.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion?
I always have this concern. We've got two chaperones going out with 17. It always makes me
Come on,
nervous.
it's a resort. How much trouble can they get into?
I thought that met the ratio.
I thought we had
17
It
to
meets
2.
the ratio, yeah. Which one is this?
The theater one.
What is
our-
17 students to 2 chaperones.
I thought we were 8-1. That would be 16.
It's a different ratio for secondary and elementary, so I'm,
Okay, all right. And again, I always have a concern over small groups, two.
this was your idea, this one. Isn't this the field trip?
Yeah.
I'm teasing.
Yeah,
Yep.
maybe I'll chaperone.
You already have two jobs.
So, you have any other concern, Perry?
Nope.
All those in favor? Motion carries. 11.5, the 2019-2020 Booster Club approvals.
So moved. Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor? Motion carries. 11.6, first consideration of policies.
So moved.
Second?
Any discussion?
Good job on the policy committee.
How many more?
Good job, Jay, you mean. Come on.
All those in favor? Motion carries. We have a motion for 11.7, stipulation of settlement of agreement, HPCSUEA 10943.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor? Motion carries. We have a motion for 11.8, stipulation of settlement agreement, SOS, of HPCSUEA 10476.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor? Motion carries. Can I have a motion for 11.9, stipulation of settlement agreement, HPCSUEA 10580.
So moved.
Second. Yeah.
Any discussion? All those in favor? Motion carries. That was 11.9, right?
Yes, sir.
So, can I have a motion for 11.10, stipulation of settlement agreement, HPCSUEA 10893.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor? Motion carries. Yeah, I'm looking, my printed sheet stopped, so. We have a motion for 11.11, stipulation of settlement agreement, HPCSUEA 10586.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor? Oh, the hand went up at the end, okay. Okay, can I have a motion for 11.12, administrative leave?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor? Motion carries. Can I have a motion? You ready? No, we're going to keep it. Got a motion, point 11.13, hearing officer appointment, section 75, hearing.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor? Motion carries. Okay, well, that's a lot of new business. Okay, public participation. If anybody would like to address the board, please go to the microphone and state your name. Seeing none, public participation is now closed. There is no other matters deemed necessary by the board.
Wait,
Oh,
sorry, I do. One thing, and I think we were a little remiss when we were talking about our goals, to go back to that topic just a little bit. But Rachel, do you have anything that you would like to add? Do you have any suggestions for us that we should consider? Would you like to think about that?
Yeah. Do I have to respond tonight, or?
No,
No.
not at all. I
yes,
just,
you have to respond before we approve them.
Respond
you have to
all,
respond
but
before we approve them. So if you maybe toward the
You can
beginning
always
of the next
modify it.
meeting, or,
Yeah.
but I'd like to hear your thoughts on just a couple of things,
Yeah. I could totally, I'll think about it.
Okay.
I just don't have anything off the top of my head right now.
No, that's
but
fine. And you may
Definitely
not
come up
have
with
anything,
something.
but
Yeah.
please think about it.
Yeah, oh, yeah, sure.
Thank you.
You know you are free to join the discussion at any time.
I know, and we were remiss to, we have to drag you in.
Okay.
But don't sound more intelligent.
I don't think I could.
Too late.
Okay, there is no need for a second executive session. Can I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor? Motion carries. We're now adjourned.
All right.